y'all, I'm James Wright. Welcome to my shop. But hey, take a look at this. This is a cheetah vise. The Cheetah Vise kit from Hovarter comes with everything you need except for the wood, and there are a couple wooden pieces you'll have to make, but we'll be covering those in a little bit. First thing we need to do is actually bore the hole where this will go through the leg, and the dimensions and drawings are all in there, as well as they have templates for actually doing the drilling. This one lays out 3 mounting holes that actually have to be cut inside of a large diameter hole, so we need to drill these first, and they're going to go in a good distance in, and then we can come in with the large diameter. I'm using a hole saw here because I couldn't quite find an auger bit large enough. If you have a large Forstner bit, great, but the hole saw actually works out pretty well. Then I'm going to come back and chop this back and take it down to about a 1/2 inch deep. There's a plastic bushing that has to go in here and mount into the leg. And so to get it just down to the right height, a router plane comes in and makes a really nice work of that. So now we have our inset, so we can drill our main hole that goes all the way through the leg. And this one I want to make sure it's nice and level and straight, and so I got my assistant here watching it and letting me know up or down or side to side, and she actually does really well at this. But it takes a good while because the inside of this leg is actually still a little bit wet, and it actually clogs up the drill quite a bit. We also need to mount the Hovarter nut or clutch on the back of this, and it goes in with 4 screws. So we're going to put those 4 holes with a punch and then come in and drill them for the screws to go in, because the white oak, we don't want to be snapping off any screws. First thing I want to do is put these screws in. I'm not going to put them down all the way. I'm going to put them close to it, but I want to leave a little bit of movement on that piece, making sure I get everything in alignment first. I don't want it to be at the bottom of the hole or the top of the hole or sides. I want it to be right in the center of the hole. So with the screws, it's still a little bit loose. I'm going to put the head and all onto it, and this will allow me to then put the bushing on the front. This is what spaces and lifts up the front of it a bit. And there is some play in there, so you can find these shims that slide into it, and it provides a whole set of shims. This allows it to have that nice, smooth, easy slide back and forth. Next, we're going to go to the top of the chop. We need to make a wooden block that actually interfaces with the work we're going to be holding. And there are a whole bunch of dimensions and drawings for exactly what to get with this when it comes to the plans. But in this case, we need to make a rectangular block and then put a rounded surface on one edge, because the rounded surface is what's actually going to contact the work we're holding. This gives me a fantastic set to use my hollow on my 45. I love working with these. They're kind of interesting, but I don't get to use them all that often. I don't do a lot of molding. You can see how we're creating that roundover on there. We're actually going to create a rabbited roundover on there in a minute, but I want to actually lay out the holes for how it's going to be mounted to it. So we can run the square on there so that our holes are parallel, and then drill a large hole first to recess the head into the body of the wood. And then once we drill all the large holes, then we can come back and drill the small holes inside to allow the shaft of the screw to go through. It is important that they all be of the right height so that the screw goes through and can then interface with the chop. And so that's why I'm using the depth checker on there to actually make sure that they're all down the right depth. And then you can see I'm going to create that rabbet with a rabbiting plane and then come back in and round it back a little bit farther. That roundover allows me to fit the cork on top, and you can see how it will fit back in and run flat with the face of this block. Then this block can get mounted to the chop, and that's 4 screws, really quick and easy. And with that on, we need to go to the bottom of this. There is a small block set that we need to make that actually house a spring or what the bottom of the chop rests on. One of those I'm making out of a scrap piece of rosewood, and the other one I'm making out of a scrap piece of something from Australia. All of the dimensions and hole sizes and everything you need to make this are included in the plans that actually come with the kit. And so we need to drill these 4 holes that go through these 2 blocks and mount it to the leg. I'll get to that in a moment, but first we have to actually figure out where is the leg at. So you can put the chop leg on there, and then the thrust bearing, and then the handle that you actually turn. And that gets pinned in. There's also a collar that mounts inside to hold the chop against that handle. Here's the first block that needs to go underneath, and this is what the chop actually rests on. There'll be a second one that goes and then holds the chop against the leg. So we need to make sure we pre-drill all these holes because we don't want anything tearing out. And then there's a series of blocks, screws that come in and hold these blocks back. Now the problem is, as you move it back and forth, nothing is opening and closing the jaw, and there's a little notch out cut into that rosewood block. And in there's a spring that fits in that, and that spring actually pushes the chop up so that it returns and makes it even faster and smoother. And I was actually really blown away with this the first time I played with it. I was, yeah, it kind of flabbergasted me how easy this was. And I was playing with blocks and different things holding down. It actually works out incredibly well. It goes back and forth between all the sizes you want, and I've been loving this. The last thing we need to do on this is we actually need to put that leather, or cork in this case, onto the top face of it. Mounting that on is a little difficult, but with some high glue and tape, it actually goes pretty well. I was playing around with how strong this actually is, and I'm able to lift my bench on just that block, which is very surprising with how heavy that bench is. I'm really surprised with how much strength this vise actually provides. So for mounting the leather, we're going to put some high glue on here, put some tape on the front, and then peel it back, putting a piece of tape on the back, and then a bunch of clamps to hold it in place. Unfortunately, I didn't get the video clips of taking the tape off of it, but you can kind of imagine that. I actually had a bunch of video clips that disappeared when a card disappeared on me. But otherwise, I'm really, really happy with how this came out. So there you have it, the Cheetah Vise, and I really love this. I mean, Hovarter, I have one of their leg vises and the other one, and I'm actually going to be putting another one on the other leg, not the Cheetah, but the standard Hovarter leg vise as well. And it's just an amazing system. The mechanics of a smooth shaft that then locks down and allows me to clamp things down at different sizes. I mean, just to be able to go clamp this direction, and then all the way down to this, and with just a simple turn, it locks down. I love how that goes together, and this is just one of those fun things, and I'm really looking forward to using it. Now, if you want to see more about this, I'll leave links to it down in the description below, and I'm looking forward to playing with this in the future. And if you ever do come and take a class in my shop, you can come and enjoy this vise too, because everyone gets to pick a different vise around the shop for the class. Now, every time I do show off a Hovarter vise in my shop, I do get questions, so throw those down in the comments down below, and it does help out the shop. Anytime you like, comment, share, subscribe, you know, all that stuff. It really helps us out, so thank you for that. And if you want to take it even farther, think about becoming a patron on Patreon, and those people are the special, wonderful, benevolent people. They're all scrolling over there as well. And we do special giveaways and other things like that. It's a lot of fun over on Patreon. If you want to come over there and join us, thank you. It does help out the channel. I think that'll do it for now. And until next time, have a wonderful day. I love this thing. It's slicker than snot on a doorknob. The reason I installed this on my bench is that the bench is so large that a tiller won't work anymore. I need a mariner's wheel to steer it.